Go and proclaim the kingdom of heaven. Heal the sick and raise the dead. Freely you have received, freely give. Do not be afraid, for I am with you.
The modern imagination often pictures the 12 apostles as tranquil wanderers in sunlit olive groves, but the historical reality of their deployment looks violently different. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 10, Jesus delivers a formal briefing to these 12 men, stripping away their comforts before sending them into the field. The requirements he lays out are staggering. The text mandates immediate enforced poverty, warns of impending public torture, and demands the active severing of the closest family ties. The instructions swing between extremes. The apostles are granted the power to heal diseases, cleanse lepers, and raise the dead, but in return, they are promised arrests, beatings in synagogues, and eventual execution. Matthew 10 captures a transition, the shift from a local preaching tour to an existential manifesto. Following this escalation reveals the high-pressure environment that defined the early church's first days. The briefing starts with local objectives. Jesus grants the 12 operational authority to cast out unclean spirits and to heal all manner of sickness and disease. This map shows the specific territory they were restricted to. Jesus explicitly commands them to avoid the Gentiles and stay out of any Samaritan cities. Those areas are completely off-limits. Their focus is narrow, the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Then comes the logistical constraint. They are ordered to leave all supplies behind. No gold, no silver, and no brass in their purses. No travel bag, no extra coats, no shoes, and no defensive walking sticks. This removes every layer of material independence. By eliminating their purchasing power and basic survival gear, the apostles must rely entirely on the hospitality of strangers, moving through the countryside in a state of radical vulnerability. If a house or town refuses to take them in, the protocol is severe. They are commanded to walk away and literally shake the dust off their feet, a symbolic act of judgment against any community that rejects their message. By removing these physical safety nets, Jesus forces a state of total reliance. The mission required the messengers to trade their earthly security for a complete dependence on divine provision. The threat assessment quickly scales beyond local rejection. Jesus tells the disciples, "Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves." The danger shifts to the institutional level. The text promises they will be arrested by religious councils, scourged in synagogues, and dragged before governors and kings for his sake. Faced with the legal power of the state, their strategy is to remain unprepared. Jesus instructs them to take no thought about what to say, promising that the Spirit of the Father will speak through them in the moment of their trial. This is where the rhetoric reaches a breaking point. Jesus declares, "Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword." This sword cuts through the most fundamental human unit, the family. Jesus warns that the mission will set children against parents, and that a person's enemies will be those of their own household. The ultimate cost is introduced here. Jesus states that anyone who does not take up his cross and follow him is not worthy of him, introducing the concept of martyrdom as a baseline expectation of the faith. The mission has been transformed from a local tour into a global declaration. In this context, clinging to physical survival is viewed as spiritual failure. This creates the central paradox of the text. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. It established a new paradigm where the willingness to die was the primary proof of one's commitment. Jesus balances these violent demands with an appeal to divine detail. He points out that while 2 sparrows are sold for a farthing, not one falls without the Father's knowledge, and even the hairs of a disciple's head are all numbered. Combining extreme physical danger with a promise of total spiritual security created the psychological framework for the early church. It allowed believers to face systemic persecution with the assurance that their smallest sacrifices were being recorded. The arc of Matthew 10 moves from simple instructions on travel logistics to the promise of familial betrayal and the requirement of the cross, ending with a final pledge of eternal salvation. The commissioning of the 12 reveals a community that prioritized spiritual endurance over physical safety. It was a movement that required total allegiance and was designed to thrive specifically when the existential stakes were highest.